last night it turned out that Britain was basically in flames again. So there were riots in Leeds and London, both of a distinctly ethnic character, and both for reasons that I don't really care about. But let's just jump straight into it, shall we? So there was a riot in Leeds. Apparently, it was the Roma Gypsy community in Leeds that were rioting, who, as Dilly Hussein points out here, mostly identify as Christian and are here legally. Don't care.
Yeah, don't care. They're in the wrong country.
Yeah, but the point is, apparently, and now this isn't entirely verified. This is basically just rumor because the media isn't doing their job and going and investigating it. So we've got to go with what we've got on Twitter. But it seems that one Roma family, one of their children injured themselves somehow. Social services were called, and the community resisted social services, and therefore the police were called, and then the wider community resisted the police, and the riot police and the police were essentially forced out of the community, and they started burning buses and various other things that were throwing on fires in the middle of their streets.
Tipping over police cars.
Yeah, tipping over police cars. And it all seems to have got out of hand. So, amazing. So just to be clear, right, social services are basically evil, right? They are basically the arm of the administrative state that's job is entirely to take your children away from you. However, do I trust the rumor of the story?
Well, can I just say that's true?
Yeah.
To an extent, but there will be actual cases where kids are being abused or whatever and should righteously be taken away from their abusive parents.
And there are
where
cases
kids are sort of sold into marriage, being nonced on, or all sorts of stuff.
100%. And there have been a couple of high-profile deaths of children who were repeatedly abused by their parents or step-parents who social services didn't intervene with recently. And my wife constantly terrorizes me with these stories.
And, of course, it's also a terrible cliche that kids do badly in care. They can then be abused 100%. In care as well. I'm not saying
100%.
That doesn't happen. Of course,
that's literally one of the problems where the grooming gangs got a lot of their victims and where Jimmy Savile got a lot of his. Right, so the whole system is pretty awful. I don't like the managerial philosophy that underpins it, but sometimes there is a just cause for it. It also has many failings of its own, and I don't really know how to say it, but I just don't really trust the word of people on the street on this one either. So we don't know exactly what has happened yet, but we do know what happened in the aftermath of this.
Are you suggesting the Roma community, Roma Gypsy community, might not be entirely truthful sometimes, ever? That's not one of their things, is it? They're not known for that,
I'm not suggesting any such thing.
Oh, I am.
Anyway, so riots broke out in Hare Hills because the police were called, as you can see, and they started tipping over police cars. Now, I think it's important to remember the demographic breakdown of this. In fact, we'll get to the demographics in a little bit, actually, because you'll see this is a very multicultural success story, this mob rioting. There are lots of men with beards and lots of men without beards. So there have been people on Twitter, I mean, such as Dilly saying, oh, this is the Roma Gypsy community. No, I don't think it is just the Roma Gypsy community, actually. I think it's the entire multicultural community that seems to be turning out to tip over police cars, actually.
Everyone that wants to destroy the rule of law in our island.
Yeah, absolutely. That's basically it.
That resent and despise the police in and of itself.
Yeah.
Also, let's not forget the general trend that we have observed for years now, that people of diverse backgrounds tend to see one person causing trouble, and then a few more join in, and then the entire community joins in, because it's just a bit of fun. And it's not their country, it's not their home. Well, it might be their home. They don't see it that way. They don't care.
I mean, a lot of these people are clearly not Roma gypsies, right?
Yeah, and if you look at a lot of their faces, they're laughing, they're smiling, they're having a great time.
Yeah,
they've wanted to do this for ages.
And these are adult men doing this. Like, this is on teenagers. Like, look at these guys. They look about 40.
It's a good laugh.
You know, it's just this is just the most irresponsible behavior. And these guys are clearly not Roma gypsies. Sorry, they're clearly from India, Pakistan, or Bangladesh. Right? That's just the way that is. And so anyway, this councillor Ali Mothin Ali, as you may remember, he was elected a Green councillor for Leeds, and came out and was like,
What platform was he?
He was running on the Allahu Akbar platform.
Oh yeah, a classic Green plank. I remember.
The Green Alliance is just the funniest thing in the world, because it's just open Islamists complaining about Gaza and then people complaining about climate change, like liberals complaining about climate change. But this is what he had to say about it.
Here we've got Councillor Mohsin Ali, who's a local councillor for Gipton Hills. Councillor, what's happening actually? Do you have any idea how it started?
How it started isn't exactly clear. I mean, what's happened is an absolute travesty what's happened. Our community has been let down for so long, whether it's by the local government, whether it's by the national government, whether it's by the local authorities. Our community has been badly let down. Our community has been badly neglected. We've suffered massively from underinvestment.
Right.
This sort of thing was just bubbling under the surface. It took an action by social services. Whether it's right or wrong, I can't be the judge of that. I don't know the details. Whether it was right or wrong, I don't know. But that action sparked a gathering of people. The police had that contained. It was peaceful. It was noisy. I mean, there was a lot of criminal damage done, but it wasn't to this extent. Once the police
Flames
withdrew,
burning behind him.
it encouraged the crowds to become even more violent, and this is when
Very peaceful.
we've had looting taking place. A delivery van had all its fridges and everything else taken out and set on fire. This bus behind us, they were attacking this bus, so I got onto the bus, I got the bus driver off, I got the 2 passengers off, and I escorted them round the back.
Right. So
Wait, so they set all of the provisions and things in these vans on fire, and the
yeah,
vans
there's some
as well.
delivery vans.
So but I thought it was underinvestment. I thought they needed things. Surely, if it was just for survival, these people would be, you know, stealing food and then going immediately home, right?
The thing is, how does that not sound like some kind of extortion? It's like, look, this was always bubbling under the surface. Give us money, or it might happen again in the future, right? Like, I'm sorry, you're not entitled to my money. I don't want you to have it. And if you're going to burn your own communities down, okay, well, then that's not my fault, my problem. I'm not responsible for that. You're responsible for that. If you're poor, well, what percentage of you are actually employed?
Yeah, what percentage of you are already leeching off of our benefit system already?
The reasoning is that there wouldn't be this resentment or hatred bubbling under the surface if they'd had more investment, i.e. sort of more social care, more sort of...
Just more of our money.
A better social welfare net.
If we just gave them more of our money, then they would be happy. And so I don't agree with that. I don't believe you.
More facilities for the youth.
Yeah.
More access to pool tables and things.
But also just more money. They just want more money. It's like, I'm not giving you my money. I'm
We
sick
already
of you.
give you a stupid amount of money in the first place. You're already part of wrecking the economy through the housing crisis. You don't deserve our money. You don't need
If there'd
our
been
money.
more youth centres in Hare Hill where the youth could have had access to ping pong tables
But
and
it wasn't
things,
the youth.
then this would never have happened.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It wasn't the youth.
Right, yeah.
These
none
are
of it,
40-year-old
obviously.
men.
Obviously, none of it
Like,
makes any sense.
Look at them.
Obviously, it's inspired by
Like the
type of...
The adult men are doing it.
It's a type of... What it really is, I mean, let's be honest, is a type of cultural, religious and ethnic resentment towards our country in general.
Sure, but it's
towards
also...
our rule of law.
Yeah, but what they're doing by rejecting the rule of law is setting themselves up as a kind of autonomous self-governing colony. Right?
Sectarianism.
They're saying that the British law does not apply in their area. And it's like, okay, fair enough. Now, I just want to actually defend Councillor Ali here, because in this video, you can see him actually trying to stop the disorder. The problem is, this is him just behind the bin, pushing it away from the fire, right? And he is in the video, there he is, the little chap there. He's trying to stop this happening, right? So, okay, well done. You get points for that. You know, definitely the right thing to do to try and stop your local community from burning itself down. Well done. He did the responsible thing. But the answer is not Gibbs.
But also immediately then run interference for it on camera.
Well, yeah,
at
of
the same time.
course. But he was trying to stop it. So, you know, credit where it's due.
Again, if we gave all of these people money, would the resentment go? No. If we gave all of these people money, if we gave them, say, 50 grand a year each, some of them probably...
Would they cooperate with the police?
Would they cooperate with the police? Would they suddenly form a functioning society? Well, we can look at the countries where they're from and we can say, no. Definitively, no.
So Andy No had looked into this. This is where I've got most of the information that I'm using, by the way, which we've already summarized, so I'll carry on. But he's got multiple angles of the attacks on the police, and the riot police were driven out, apparently. And just, I mean, there are youths, there are adults. There's just Like, it's the entire community.
How are we supposed to ever live with these people
I don't know.
indefinitely?
Well, there's a reason that this community is very lacking in native English people.
Is that why
Well, I was going to say very disappointing to see
Yeah, but you don't know
White
who he
guys.
Is. You don't know who he
Yeah, it
is.
might just be really
He
like.
could be a gypsy.
Yeah.
he could
He could be
be.
from Romania or Bulgaria. Like,
Yeah,
you don't know who
true.
he is. Okay. So anyway, they were, as you can see, attacking the police cars, setting fire to buses. Which, again, why do this? Okay, well, I don't like the social services. I don't like the police. But what's the local bus service got to do with that? Like, don't you get the bus service to your place of work?
It's just wanting to.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I've always thought, ever since the LA riots, which I remember when I was younger, I've always thought, even when I was a kid, I thought it's insane to destroy your own community.
Yeah, it is. But
Completely insane.
it's because they've got no investment in it. They don't feel like it's theirs. Right? So, the riot police were chased out, as we've already seen. And Hare Hills was just left to burn for hours because the riot police were not present. What are you doing? If you're the riot police, you've got shields, you've got batons, and you've got training, and you've got numbers.
Do they have
So-
water cannons?
Yeah.
Water cannons tend to help with
I
this
think
kind of
water
thing.
cannons were banned in Britain, if I remember rightly.
But the thing is, you're the riot police. There is a violent mob, as the councillor pointed out. The job then is to go in and club them into submission. Right? No, that's what they do with the English. That's fine.
Yeah,
You've got a mob literally burning down stuff in the street, looting, total anarchy. No, you have to go and baton them into submission. That's what the riot police are for. It's literally their job. But no, they got chased out somehow. So brilliant. Love it. Anyway, let's have a look at the demographics of Hare Hills, shall we? So I just went on the 2021 census. So North Hare Hill, 9%, 9.3% English. South Hare Hill, 16.3% English. So overwhelmingly not British. Now, the Gypsy population, the Roma population, very low as well. 3.2% and 1.4%, right? So what you can see from this is that that means they're literally going to number in the hundreds. So when we see these big gangs or crowds on the streets, and you can see the multi-ethnic makeup of them, it's not just the Roma who are out protesting. And just in case anyone was wondering, the Asian population of Hare Hills, well, it's 57.1 in the north and 36.2 in the south.
Asian, what, like Singapore people? People
Yeah,
from
well,
Malaysia?
When they say Asian, they don't mean Middle Eastern. They don't mean Oriental. They mean subcontinental South Asians, or Asian Welsh, as you can see there. The census brings up. But the point is, this is an ethnic issue.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
this is an ethnic colony.
So is sectarian, is the complete failure of multiculturalism. Multiculturalism
100%.
has always been a lie.
Totally.
Throughout all of history, if you
Yeah.
force people that are completely different ethnically, religiously, culturally, and you force them to live together, it will end terribly.
Well, just to, I think it's worth finessing this a little bit, because there's not a problem when you have a person from another ethnic group who moves to a community and intermarries, right? Historically, this was always the way. It had to be integrationist. You have to marry a local member of the local community, so your children are then part of that community, and so you are integrated into it. That's what that means. Multiculturalism is to say, right, the Bangladeshis go here, the Indians go here, the Roma go here, and you have essentially enclaves and a set of kind of feuding states that have always got their barriers up. So you are not creating any kind of conditions for integration. You are in fact segregating. Yeah. That's what multiculturalism produces. And just to be clear, I'm 100% in favor of integration. They have to intermarry, in my opinion.
Not all of these people, though.
I don't even want them to.
I appreciate, but I think we have to be a bit more.
None of those people, though, because they've already, taken their chance.
Well, there's no one to integrate with.
They've blown it. And what I would say is now that we're under the Labour technocracy, the managerial technocracy that Labour will usher in, if this is going to be a new Blairism, it's all going to be based around digital IDs and mass surveillance technology. Well, we've got multiple different angles of a lot of this going on. Surely it can't be that hard for our Labour overlords to look at the faces of everybody who's in those riots identify them.
Check the benefit rolls.
No, round them up. Round them up.
Check their countries of origin.
Yeah, and get them on the next plane out of town.
Yeah, I do think that anyone involved in this kind of civil unrest should just be deported. There's no excuse to throw rocks and stones at riot police or just the police generally.
We've got a fantastic solution to your economic deprivation. You go home.
Anyway, so concurrent to that, in Leeds, there were riots in London. Huh, what was going on in London? Were they also worried about social services? Let's find out. Huh, well, these aren't Roma. These appear to be Bangladeshis. And as the caption here tells us, there was a Bangladeshi man shot by police in Bangladesh. So the Bangladeshi community in Whitechapel, which is a very large community, Whitechapel being the place where there is now Bangladeshi language on the signage, right? That's where they've put the signs up in Bangladeshi language because, of course, many of them don't speak English, so they don't know they're at Whitechapel. That has to be translated for them. Well, they're out in the streets to protest this because apparently in Bangladesh, some students, I don't even really know what the situation is, to be honest, but some students have been uprising against the Bangladeshi government. It's been a brutal crackdown. A bunch of students have been killed, and now they're out protesting on the streets of London for some reason.
But don't worry. As we saw in the beginning of that footage, we've got some fat, out-of-shape police officers who can deal with this.
Thank God the Met are in fighting form. Andy No again reporting, because literally riots are happening in Bangladesh, so they're rioting here in solidarity. Oh yeah, there was also a stabbing in Wigan. Just in broad daylight.
I put that link in.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, let's see what Imam Tweedy has to say about this.
Countries, and you imported the garbage that the Muslim countries wanted to put in prison or isolate away from society. You went and you imported them. Why? For cheap labor. But these Islamist extremists, they don't want to work. They want free welfare. They don't have time to work.
I mean, that's a good point. And there was a Saudi minister who made the exact same point as well, saying, look, you don't understand Islam because you're Westerners. You don't understand that these are people we don't respect and treat well in our countries. And also, why, it's not the heavily capable, upwardly mobile people who have gone because they're succeeding in our societies. You're not taking our best, is what he said. But anyway, yeah, like I said, there was a stabbing in Wigan, as you can see there, chap with a knife. Absolute chaos. Absolute chaos. Any word from Keir Starmer? Well, not at the time of recording. Keir Starmer's last tweet was, Ukraine is and always will be at the heart of my government's agenda.
Cut and paste somebody else's words.
Doubtless, but why is Ukraine the heart of the British government's agenda when we have such chaos here at home? Angela Rayner, second in command, deputy leader. Nope, no statement from there. Nothing to say. Which is a shame because I expected Angela Rayner might actually come out and say something. But they did bring Zelensky to the parliament, to the cabinet today to address the new Labour cabinet in number 10. Thank God. Thank God Zelensky was there.
Still can't get himself a proper shirt, tie and blazer.
No, I don't know what's wrong with it. I mean, it's not like he hasn't had enough money for I know. But Nigel Farage made a statement, one of the few people to actually do so, saying, well, look, the politics of the subcontinent are currently playing out in the streets of Leeds. Don't say I didn't warn you. They're like, well, there were gypsies in Leeds. Well, there were also Bangladesh, like Muslims and subcontinental people there, and also happening in London. So we're seeing it. We're constantly seeing it.
Yeah. I know what will help that. Let's make a chairman of the party.
Well,
That'll help.
Different subject, I would say.
That will speak to the base.
But anyway, one person who did make a statement was Home Secretary Yvette Cooper.
Oh, no, this is old.
This is an old one. Sorry,
yeah,
refugee.
Really old.
Right, okay.
She is our Home Secretary, though, so just get a feel for her politics.
Yeah, she is an insufferable wet leftist, but she actually did make a statement. There we go. I'm appalled at the scenes and attacks on police and vehicles and public transport in Leeds tonight. Disorder of this nature has no place in our society. Okay, so what are you going to do? Well, I mean, you see me there replying to her, what about the riots in London as well?
Well,
they're apparently fine.
What is the policy solution ultimately for all this?
Exactly.
Well, Carl, this is the solution. You say, I'm so terribly sorry to hear this has happened, and then you don't do anything about it, and then it happens again, and you release another meaningless statement.
Good point. I mean, again, like Tony Blair would have these people removed, so I don't know what she's waiting for. But anyway, and there is a change in the air. People are like, hang on, we don't have to live with these people. This is from the RNC, obviously.
So I think that what reform at the last election, I voted for reform, and it was to move the Overton window to show that we can destroy a party like the Tories, and it isn't a completely wasted vote to vote for one of the smaller parties. We move the Overton window that way. The final, perhaps the most essential move for the Overton window is to the realisation that remigration is necessary. The only actual policy prescription for all of this is remigration. There's an article I wrote a couple of years ago now that these people need to go back.
Yeah.
They have to. There's no other way.
So
there's no other way.
So just to not be so hard line on things, because the sort of more soft-souled people say, well, hang on a second. All of them, you say, well, hang on. How about we just begin with the people who are involved in the riots?
Yeah, let's start with criminals at least.
Foreign criminals, people who are
with that, okay.
From other places and commit crimes in Britain should just be sent home.
Again, people will say, but won't that be difficult? How do we track these people down? Listen,
how do we track them down? We pay their benefits.
Yeah, even without the fact that we've got their faces on camera, we have so many different ways of tracking these people. The government already knows where these people are. When it comes to certain subsets of criminals in London, they literally post their locations and gang territories on the internet on interactive maps.
We've got the most advanced surveillance state in the history of mankind.
It's not actually that hard. It's really not that hard. Operation Slur, word that I can't use, from America in the 1950s, Dwight D. Eisenhower, with the technology that they had available to them then, had 750 officers at first involved, and managed to deport over 1 million Mexicans who were in the country illegally.
Where are you when we need you, Ike?
Yeah, we have precedent on this, being able to do incredible things as long as you have the political will.
It's happened lots and lots of times throughout history. The mass removal of certain demographics from certain countries for expedient reasons, because you sort of have to. Otherwise, it's the death of your nation. And it's one reason why I can't continue to support reform or any other party that isn't explicitly for remigration, because that is what is needed. Anything short of that is multicultural. Anything short of that will end in sectarianism. And we'll end in just in more and more of what we've seen. I
think there's a more nuanced conversation to be had about it, but I think that the baseline has to be foreign criminals must go.
I hope you appreciated that segment from the podcast to the Lotus Eaters, and if you want to see what else we're up to, you can follow Connor's series, Tomlinson Talks, where he has a deep dive on Westminster politics. Here he's talking about Labour's plan to abolish Britain. If you want to see all of the other things that we're putting out, you can follow us on Twitter, and we always post links to all of the work going out. Thank you for watching. And goodbye.